The storm is not the end of the story. Sometimes God doesn't take you around the trouble. He leads you straight into the middle of it all, because the Lord has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. So you follow him into the middle of it. He says, "Trust me," because the Lord has his way in that storm. When you are in the middle of the storm, that's when you look for God. Always look for God in the way things are, not in the way that you hope they will be. Look for God in reality, because he is not waiting for you on the other side of the trouble, waiting for you to figure it out and find your way through. He is in the middle of it, walking with you, working his way and his will, but you've got to trust him in it. So when God says, "Do you trust me?" you have a decision to make. Will you allow him to do what he wants to do and not fear the outcome? Because to fear the outcome is to say, "Lord, I don't really quite trust you." Focus on what never changes in the days ahead. That'll give you stability. Don't focus on what's always changing, because we don't know where it's all going to end up. You say, "Well, what are the unchangeable truths that I should focus on?" God sees everything I'm going through. God cares about everything I'm going through. God has the power to change what I'm going through. God always acts out of his goodness to me. God's plan is always better than my plan. God will never stop loving me. These are unchangeable. These are the things you need to focus on. God's love for me, God's grace for me, God's goodness for me. Remember this, no matter what I go through, God will go through it with me. Every stage, every phase, every crisis, God is going to go through it with me. You will never really be alone. God is with you. He's with you right now. He has never been closer to you than he is right now. He will never be any further away than he is right now. And remember the great promise of Isaiah 43:2. When you go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you pass through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not consume you. That's what you want to focus on. Maybe a little less listening to the internet, and a little bit more listening to God. That will give you confidence. That will give you stability. That will replace your panic with prayer. It will replace your worry with worship. It will replace your anxiety with adoration. You have to believe that God knows what is best, that he will not abandon you. He will not let go of you. You will not be destroyed by this trouble. You have to take him at his word when he says, "I will never leave you or abandon you." You have to take him at his word when he says, "I take all things and work them together for your good." The seed of faith, planted in the soil of adversity, under the watchful eye of the gardener, will bring forth life and beauty in its season. The Bible says that God makes all things beautiful in their time. The trouble you're in will not last. It is light and momentary compared to the eternal glory that awaits you. It's all about your perspective. How you see the trouble is how you will face the trouble. If you see it in fear, you'll face it in fear. If you see it in doubt, you'll face it in doubt. If you see it in faith, you'll face it in faith.
Oh, don't see it as the end. See it as the beginning. You have to look through eyes of faith, through a lens of hope, a lens of expectation. Remember, this is not the end of the story. We don't know what the future holds, but we do know who holds the future. We don't know all that's going to happen ahead, but we're not frightened by it, because we know the end of the story. We've read the last chapter of the book. We know that God is in control. God is not surprised by this. God is bigger than this. And Romans 8:28 is still true. All things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. If the truth be told, most of us don't like waiting, particularly if we're waiting for something to change or something to get better. Waiting can be a very frustrating experience. But the worst kind of waiting is waiting on God. When God forces you to wait for things to get better in your life, for things to improve, to change, to reverse, and nothing is happening. And yet, over and over again in the Bible, we're told to wait on the Lord. The most difficult place to be in life is in God's waiting room. Some of you are in God's waiting room right now. What is that? When you're in a hurry for something to happen, and God isn't. That's God's waiting room. Some of you are in a hurry to graduate. Some are in a hurry to get married. Some are in a hurry to start a family, to launch a business, to close a deal, to achieve a dream. But God isn't in a hurry. We hate to wait, especially on God. Have you ever been in a hurry when God wasn't? You say, "God, I know you're going to come through. I'm praying this godly prayer and I know it's your will. So where are you? Why aren't you coming through?" And you're in the waiting room of life. We get so impatient. We want to hurry God up. We want things now. And some of you are waiting on God and about to give up. You're discouraged. But God's timing is not your timing. It's in the waiting rooms of life where we learn to trust God the most. That's where God grows us and builds our character. through the pain of waiting. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. That's when He builds us. See, while you're working on your dream, God is working on you. And God's more interested in you than in what you're trying to accomplish. You're not taking your accomplishments to heaven, but you are taking your character. Sometimes God says, yes, I intend to give you what I promised. I intend to answer that prayer. I intend to fulfill the vision, but you're not ready yet. I want you to grow. And when you're ready, then it's going to happen. A lot of times we think we're waiting on God, but God says, you're not waiting on me. I'm waiting on you. He's trying to prepare you.
He's testing your faith. He's trying to grow you up because the blessing He wants to give you is so much bigger than what you can handle right now. Another lesson to learn in life: a delay is not a denial.
There's a big difference between no and not yet. Immature children don't know the difference. You tell a kid, not yet,
And they cry and think it's no. They don't understand that a delay is not a denial. God says,
I intend to do these things in your life. I've given you the vision and the dream, but you're just not ready yet. At the right time, I will answer your prayer.
Sam.
Why is this important? Because when you're in God's waiting room, you fall into temptation to all kinds of negative emotions: worry, stress, anxiety, irritability, envy, jealousy. You start asking, why them and not me? You start having a pity party. But God is not a vending machine where you put in a prayer and get instant results. Delays are by design, to teach you to trust Him and grow up in your character. Throughout the scriptures we see this. God told Noah to build an ark, but it didn't rain for 120 years. God told Abraham he'd be the father of a great nation, but he had his first child at 99. God told Moses to lead his people out of Egypt, but Moses spent 40 years in the desert waiting. God gave Joseph a dream of leadership, but Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, and waited for years before the dream came true. God anointed David as king, but he waited years before taking the throne. Even Jesus spent his first 30 years in a carpentry shop before beginning his ministry. A delay is not a denial. Sometimes when God delays, we feel forgotten. Psalm 13:1 says, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever?" You can come to a place where you feel like God has forgotten you. It's a common experience. You may feel He's not there. You may think your problems aren't important to Him. You may even believe He's given up on you.
but let me remind you, that is a simple impossibility. God never gives up on you. He never ceases to care for you. He will not abandon His work in you. Your trial is part of that work. He even says your name is written on the palms of His hands. Your very name is tattooed on His palms. It is engraved there. It cannot be removed. Such is God's concern for you. You have never left His mind. You have never left His heart.